We know that Boris Johnson has formally resigned. He has met Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth in her Scottish home in Balmoral. In the next hour or so, Liz Truss will become the 15th Prime Minister that Her Majesty has sworn into office. That is a live shot right now of the very exciting gates in the lead up to Her Majesty's residence in Scotland. But let's talk about a whole lot more action with the man who calls it straight. What a night to have him on the show, coming to Australia, nigelive.com.au. Fresh from his studio there at GB News, none other than the great Nigel Farage. Nigel, g'day, nice to talk to you. Now, I've got to say, whatever I thought about Liz Truss, or maybe what the promise of Liz Truss was and what her speech was, I thought I could learn everything about Liz Truss, that when she became the Tory party leader, she couldn't even be asked looking at the bloke that she just beat.
No, that's true. She totally ignored Rishi Sunak and off she went to her great destiny, you see. That's what it's all about. Look, let's just remember that she's meeting the Queen at Balmoral as we speak. She wanted to abolish the monarchy when she was younger. She wanted to ban all nuclear deterrence. She was a Remainer, but people are allowed to change their minds. And she did say one thing in that short speech yesterday that I found interesting. She said, I was elected as a Conservative and I will govern as a Conservative. And I thought, well, blow me down. Wouldn't that make a nice change? Because for the last 12 years, the previous three have been elected pretending to the great British public they're Conservative. They've actually governed as a sort of cross between Social Democrats and a modern-day left-wing Green Party. Now, if Liz Truss is serious about governing as a Conservative, serious about cutting taxes, about reducing regulation, about giving small business a chance, serious about getting us out of this energy catastrophe that we face this winter, and I use that word advisedly, then what I'm going to do, for the sake of the country, I will give her the benefit of a doubt for the first few weeks.
So, I mean, I don't know who used this term, but it was a particularly clever one, is that her in-tray looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa right now. Energy bills have doubled. Ukraine is, of course, the battle with Russia. There's the train strike issues that have happened there. There's a whole bunch of other things that obviously anyone can know about the UK. But the reality is that if any of these were easy fixes, they would have already happened. So how does she fix any of these things without digging deeper holes for herself and the government?
I don't agree with that at all. Many of the messes that we're in are caused by government policy, right? It was the Conservatives that put through the net zero commitment. It's the Conservatives, through high energy prices and through massive subsidy to rich landowners and foreign multinationals, have closed down most heavy manufacturing, most refining, most chemical works in the United Kingdom. It's the Conservatives that refused for us to produce our own gas, enough of our own oil, and even our own coal, which we import from Kazakhstan, some too from Australia. So much of this has been caused by the Conservatives. And right now, there's one other thing in the in-tray that's even scarier, and that is we're on the edge of a sterling crisis. We've not had one of these now for getting on for 50 years. Not a real sterling crisis. Interest rates are shooting up. If you look at 10-year borrowing, maybe the only way she can save the pound is to put interest rates up very, very high. So we are on the edge of a financial precipice in this country, the worst since 1976, when we had to go cap in hand to the IMF for a loan to pay back our debt interest. I want to give this woman a chance, because if I damn her from day one, that would be a mistake. If she's bold, if she's brave, if she supports genuine free market capitalism, maybe, just maybe, we can turn this country around. So I'm being as generous, Paul, as I possibly can. Maybe she'll be like all the others. Maybe she'll disappoint. But let's at least give us some breathing space.
Now, let's see how generous you are to Meghan Markle. She is back in the UK, where she said a couple of stupid things, including this. Roll the tape.
I was the girl from Suits. And I was surrounded by world leaders, humanitarians, prime ministers, and activists that I had such a deep and long-standing respect and admiration for. And I was invited to pull up a seat at the table.
Because of who you married, darling.
Yeah. Did you notice there the use of the word I? That is what that whole speech was about. It was about her and nothing and nobody else. She is effectively a nobody, you know, a second-rate actress who happened to marry into the royal family. But here's the worst bit. The worst bit is that they're here in the United Kingdom. They're off today, I understand, to Germany, where she'll give another speech. They haven't, you know, Harry hasn't even gone to visit his 96-year-old grandmother, who is in Balmoral, who is clearly in some degree of failing health. And that tells you all you need to know about the two of them. Absolutely awful, conceited, self-obsessed. And please don't ever come back again, Meghan. We don't want to see you.
But we always want to see you, and you can see Nigel in Australia, nigelive.com.au. Thank you, great man. See you next week.